Hello again, everyone. Vanessa Kelman here. So, over the next several weeks, possibly ongoing, we'll see how long it lasts, I've decided to share some of my other works. So, I've already shared my novels that have been published so far, and I do have others in the works that I will be eventually sharing once those are complete as well. But I have been writing my whole life. And while I wouldn't exactly say the stories I wrote as a child are worthy of sharing on here. There are some others that I wrote a little bit later, around college, maybe shortly thereafter, that I have started sharing on my blog. And I will put the link to that in the notes if you wanted to check that out. But I figured now is a good opportunity on video here to share those readings as well. So I will be starting that today and we'll see how long it goes. I will um, do that once a week. I will share stories, poems, things that I wrote a while ago that I felt like sharing with you. So today we're going to start with a short story. It's called Discovering Molly. It's the time of year with graduations and moving on, and I thought it was an appropriate choice to get us started on this. So let us take a read or a listen in your case and see what you think. Discovering Molly. Perhaps the most difficult part was watching Daniel wave goodbye. She drove away after dropping him off, and he stood for a moment, waving until she drove out of sight. Her little boy was all grown up. He wouldn't need her as much anymore, and Molly found herself wondering what she would do with all the free time she was sure to have now. No more acting as chauffeur, chef, and maid. It was just her. For a minute, Molly felt a wave of sadness pass over her. Taking a deep breath, she turned back onto the highway and headed home. It wasn't as if she would never see him again. He would be coming home in a little over a month for Columbus Day, but it seemed years away. The days would drag, the weeks would be an eternity. By the time Columbus Day rolled around, Molly was practically counting the minutes. When she picked him up that Friday afternoon, Danny was full of excitement. He had made friends, the teachers were much better than high school, and he even had good things to say about the classes. Molly felt alive. She had her baby with her, and his enthusiasm was contagious. His descriptions were vivid, and she found herself alternating between laughing and sitting in silence as he awed her with his new knowledge and experiences. The first hour of the car ride, Molly was smiling, thrilled that her son was enjoying his college experience so much. The second hour, Molly began to envy her son's youth and opportunity. By the time they pulled into the driveway, Molly's mind had begun to work in a whole new way. Molly had planned her son's favorite meal for dinner that first night. As they sat down to eat, Molly decided to ask his opinion on her new thoughts. So I guess you really like college, huh? Yup. He was too busy eating to say much more. Do you think I would like college? What, to like go there? Yeah. Danny swallowed, then shrugged. I guess. You're a little old for the dorms. I wouldn't stay there. He shrugged again. I guess. Why would you want to go to college? Well, I never got to go. And hearing you talk about it, I'm starting to think I missed out on something. Half the fun is living in the dorms, and if you're not staying there, then you'd just be going to class. I wouldn't mind. I'd like to learn something new. Danny sat in silence for a few moments. You're not planning on going to my school, are you? No, of course not. I wouldn't do that to you. He breathed a sigh of relief. That's okay then. Where would you go? I don't know. Maybe a local college. I just started thinking about it. They ate in silence for a bit. It's been quiet without you here. Is that why you want to go to college? Molly was pleased he brought it up again. It meant he had taken her seriously. Maybe in part. I have some free time now and I want to keep my mind sharp. What would you study? Molly thought for a moment. I'm not sure. I'd have to see what courses are available and see what interests me. Danny put down his fork and leaned back in his chair. Well, thanks for dinner. I'm meeting up with some friends. I'll see you later, okay? He stood up and kissed her on the cheek before grabbing his baseball cap and heading out the door. Molly watched him leave and rested her chin on one hand. She hadn't expected him to spend all evening with her, but a few more minutes would have been nice. This was just proof that she needed a life of her own, Molly thought. Maybe taking a couple of courses would get her on the right track, and if not, at least she would have learned something in the process. Yes, she liked this idea of hers. It definitely had merit. Molly found it surprisingly easy to get information from the local community college. They were used to adult students, she supposed. She was also surprised by the wide variety of courses the school offered. Flipping through the course catalog, she reconnected with parts of herself she thought had disappeared forever. She could study art or history or the elusive literature she used to love. Could it really be that simple? The paperwork was straightforward, registering for class painless. By the time the holidays were over and January appeared, Molly was excited to begin her college career. But when she first stepped into the introduction to sculpture class, she nearly turned around and walked out. Adrenaline had gotten her this far, but it had been 20 years since she had last stepped foot into a classroom. What right did she have to be here? What made her think she could create something even remotely worthwhile? If the instructor hadn't been standing right behind her, Molly was convinced she would have left right then. But he greeted her with a smile. Wrong classroom? He inquired in response to her anxious look. She could only shake her head. Great, then let's have a seat, shall we? He ushered her inside and she sat at an available stool. For a school that catered to adult students, there were an alarming number of 20 somethings filling the room. There was only one other older student, a middle aged man seated at the back. She gave a small smile in his general direction and hoped she didn't embarrass herself thoroughly. He was kind of cute. The English literature course was easier, if for no other reason than the abundance of 40-year-old women. It felt more like a book group than a college course, and Molly felt herself relax a bit in the company of peers. The classics never changed, and she felt soothed by the old fashioned language and familiar characters. She even began to meet some of the other women after class for coffee. For the past 18 years, Molly's life had revolved around her son. After her divorce, the paired off friends drifted away. By nature a loner, she was never really bothered by the lack of companionship. She had Danny, and in time, perhaps she would find someone to share her retirement years. It surprised her that she would take so eagerly to the friendship of other women. Perhaps she had been in denial. Perhaps she really did need other people, and her willingness to be alone had been a defense against the loneliness. Regardless, she found herself looking forward to the after class coffee breaks and group study sessions. She could relate to these women and they to her. Perhaps there was hope for her yet. By the time spring break rolled around, Molly had gotten into a pattern. She had work, school, and homework assignments. She had meetings with her new friends and studio time for her sculpture class. She found it hard to believe that just a few months ago her life had been so empty. She was only slightly bothered when Danny decided to go away with friends for the week instead of coming home. The schedule of class for summer session and the fall semester came out. Molly devoured the catalog, searching for new ideas, new subjects to learn. Her group of friends decided to enroll in another literature course together, this time tackling American literature. For her second course, Molly decided to try something different. Anthropology sounded interesting. Danny was supportive, almost relieved that Molly was enjoying her classes so much. She supposed it made him feel less guilty when he didn't spend time with her. She noticed he came home less frequently these days. Even during the summer, his time was filled with a job, his friends from high school, and a mysterious friend she suspected was of the female variety. They passed like ships in the night, sharing the occasional meal and brief discussion of life. At one such meal, Molly found herself getting depressed. What's wrong, Mom? She forced a smile and gazed at her beautiful son. Nothing, why? You don't seem very happy tonight. Oh, I'm fine. I guess I've just been thinking. We hardly ever see each other now, and I know soon you'll be moving out and getting married, and I'll be all alone. You won't be alone, Mom. You've got your friends now and your classes. I know, but I'll miss you. It's not like I'll never see you. And besides, it's years away. Molly sighed dramatically. I know, but it feels like tomorrow. Well, it's not. Besides, it wasn't that long ago that you were thinking every day felt like an eternity. Now you're saying the years are going to fly. Strange, isn't it? I guess the time seems to run away from me now that I'm so busy. I'm glad, Mom. You seem happier now. I am happy. I guess I just miss you. We used to spend so much time together, and now I hardly ever see you. It was bound to happen. I'm not a kid anymore. And I'm glad you have other people to spend time with than just me. Me too. Especially since you have so many other people to spend time with, too. You forget all about Mom. I could never forget you. You're my mother. But you have to admit you relied on me a little too much. I love you, but I'm not your husband. Molly looked up at Danny in surprise. I never thought you were. But I was the man of the house, and it was just you and me. Sometimes it felt like you expected me to be there all the time so you wouldn't be alone. I'm sorry, Danny. I never realized you felt that way. Danny shrugged. It is what it is. I didn't want you to get lonely or sad, so I stayed. I almost didn't go to college because I didn't know how you would deal with it. I'm glad you went. Me too. Not only because it's great, but because it got you out of the house, too. I'm glad you're doing something for you, Mom. Me too. It's been a while since I've done something just for me, and I like it. Are you going to get a degree? Molly shrugged. I don't know yet. Right now, I'm just taking the classes that sound interesting. Maybe someday I'll put them all together, but for now, I'm just taking it one semester at a time. And they say college kids are the ones without ambition. Well, I am a college kid now, aren't I? I guess you are. And that was Discovering Molly. So, still along the same lines as the novels I write, where rediscovery and overcoming challenges and figuring out what you want are the running trends, but written a while ago. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be with you again soon, sharing more tips and tricks and info and stories. Have a great day.